Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the fifth session webinar on a Sunday morning from Nature Walk Charitable Trust, Pune. I, Harshada Sunil Abhyankar, and with me, my team members, Smruti Abhijit Paranspe, welcome you all again and thank you for joining so much on a Sunday morning. So, as I said, this is the fifth session of a webinar from last many Sundays when we are going through the lockdown. We have been conducting sessions for people to get connected to environment, wildlife, nature, sitting at home. In the last 3-4 sessions, we had various wildlife photographers, everybody interacting with us. But today is something special. And today is special in 2-3 sense. And also the theme which we have taken up today, as you all can see, the name of the today's program is Taking a Green Path. So in the today's program, we have our ex-volunteer team of Nature Walk Charitable Trust who have worked with us and now they are connected to the field of wildlife, environment and nature in different aspects. But today they are going to help us to discover how you can pursue your hobby, that is environment, wildlife, and transform it into a career option. So on board on the panel today, we have with us our 5 volunteers which used to work with Nature Walk and now are tremendously successful in their own fields. We have with us Mrs. Sania Kirloskar, Ms. Swaroop Patankar, Mrs. Pallavi Dhade, Mr. Ashwin Varudkar, and Mrs. Neha Joshi. We welcome you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Without any further ado, I would like to just introduce what Nature Walk is about, and then we'll move on with the panel discussion. So basically, Nature Walk Charitable Trust on 5th June this year completed its 20 years of service to the environment. For all these years, we have been conducting various festivals like Wild India, Bird Fest. Also, we have been conducting a weekly activity of Katta, which takes place on Friday near Sadashivpet in Numavi and also on Sundays at Kothrud. We have been conducting various online talks, light shows. We have been taking out excursions. The only motive is to promote environmental awareness and make citizens aware sitting in urban spaces that yes, we need to save our green spaces. So I request one of my team members, Mr. Atulya Mahajan, to paste all the links to our various social media handles, that is Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And also recently we launched our new website, www.naturewalktrust.org. You can definitely go to our website and come to know about our upcoming programs and also what we have been doing so far. So without any further ado, I now request Smriti to kindly introduce our speakers and then we will begin with the panel. Thank you so much.
Good morning all. I would welcome Ashwin Varudkar. Ashwin has done his Masters in Wildlife and from 2019 he is a PhD student in IISER Tirupati. He has been a project assistant, research assistant and a project trainer and has done a tremendous amount of work in wildlife. Harshada would introduce the rest of the members. So over to you, Harshada.
So next in panel, we have Mrs. Sania Kirloskar. Sania is currently, because of lockdown, everyone is in Pune, but Sania has worked at various places all over India, like Rishikesh, Manipur. Sania is actually an instructional leader, and also she has been working in Manipur with Sunbird Trust. And Sania's work is very, very unique. She is actually an educator. She teaches teachers or she trains teachers about how to train your students, how to teach your students. Sania has done her master's in biodiversity and also she has explored various fields related to environment and nature. Welcome on board, Sania. She has also worked as fellow for Teach for India and she has also worked with Fleet Guard Filters Private Limited as science resource person. Now, next on board, we have Ms. Swaroop Patankar.
Swaroop has done her Masters in Environment and Science and Technology and BSc in Microbiology. She is currently working as a research assistant in Azim Premaji University in Bangalore and she has an association with Nature Walk since many years. So welcome on board, Swaroop. Next we have Pallavi Dhade with us.
Pallavi is currently settled in Delhi, and Pallavi is joining us for the panel all the way from Delhi. Pallavi has worked as education officer in Bombay Natural History Society, famously known as BNHS. She has been teaching since a long time to various students, biology, 11th, 12th for NEET preparations, for CET preparations. Currently, she has taught at many tutorial classes as well. Currently, she is a teacher teaching faculty at Rao Tutorials in New Delhi. She has also worked at Dr. Khur's Infertility Center, and Pallavi holds her master's degree in microbiology. But along with microbiology, Pallavi has also done supplementary courses like entomology, ornithology, herpetology, etc. Next on board, we have Mrs. Neha Doshi Natu.
Neha has done her master's in environmental sciences, and she is currently the owner or entrepreneur, and she owns a startup known as the Ecomet Ecological Services, and which is in business for urban gardening. And she has been working with NatureWalk since many years and has been a volunteer since many years. So welcome aboard, Neha.
So the best part of today's panel discussion is these all people have been working with NatureWalk for quite a few years. And in the today's panel, we will try to discover that how did they go about changing their hobby to their career option. So I would just, before we begin with the panel, I would just like to suggest the format in which the panel would be going on. Initially, Smruti and I will be asking some questions to the panel. This would go on up to 45 minutes. After that, we will take in audience questions. And after that, some of our panelists would like to present something for all of us. And I request audience, as we go through the panel, please put in your questions in the chat box so that we will be able to moderate your questions and ask the speakers. Thank you so much. So let's begin with the panel. The first question I would like to ask to Pallavi. So Pallavi, before we start with career and how to choose it, I would like to know something about your association with NatureWalk and what made you take your hobby, your liking for environment so far.
Okay, thank you so much. सगळ्यात आधी सगळ्या पार्टिसिपंट्सना, सगळ्या प्रेक्षकांना नमस्कार. आज मला खूप आनंद होतोय, छान वाटतंय की मी मराठीतून संवाद साधणार आहे. मध्ये मध्ये इंग्लिश येईलच, कारण का 4 वर्ष दिल्लीमध्ये राहतीये आणि हिंदी आणि इंग्लिश बोलून मला आलाय कंटाळा. आणि जसं सगळ्यांना माहितीये, नेचर वॉक मध्ये आम्ही मराठीतूनच शिकलो, सगळं मराठीतूनच पुढे गेलो. तर मला खूप छान वाटतंय मराठीतून बोलायला. तर तुझा पहिला प्रश्न की नेचर वॉकशी मी कसे असोसिएट झाले, सगळ्यात पहिली सुरुवात माझ्या आईमुळे झाली. खरं तर आईनी नेचर वॉक कट्ट्याला, आई पहिले नेचर वॉक कट्ट्याला गेली होती. किरण पुरंदर यांची लेक्चरची सिरीज चालली होती आणि त्याच्यामध्ये पहिले सुरुवातीला आई गेली आणि नंतर मग तिने मला नेलं. सुरुवातीला फार म्हणजे काहीतरी बोर वाटलं, कारण का मी तेव्हा 11वीत वगैरे होते. फारसं आवडलं नव्हतं किंवा माहिती नव्हती कदाचित, म्हणून आवडलं नसेल. पण नंतर आईमुळे मी जात राहिले आणि मग हळूहळू आवड निर्माण झाली. आणि मग ती आवड बऱ्यापैकी जास्त लेवलला गेली असावी किंवा इंटरेस्ट आला. प्राणी, पक्षी, फुलं, फुलपाखरं. आणि मला असं वाटतंय की सगळ्यांनाच पार्टिसिपंट असतील त्यांनी एकदा ना कधीतरी किरण पुरंदर यांचं समजा लेक्चर किंवा काही ऐकलं असेल, तर तुम्हाला माहिती असेल की तो ज्या पद्धतीने बोलतो, प्रेझेंट करतो, त्या ह्यांनी तुम्ही अगदी नक्कीच म्हणजे आवडतं ते तुम्हाला आणि तुम्हाला खूप छान वाटतं, इंटरेस्ट निर्माण होतो या सगळ्यामध्ये. तर अशी सुरुवात झाली सगळ्यात आधी कट्ट्यापासून. आणि मग त्याच्यानंतर पहिला जो कॅम्प होता तो नागझिऱ्याचा कॅम्प होता आमचा. अगेन किरण पुरंदरे जे होते ते होते आमच्या बरोबर, अनुज दादा आमच्या बरोबर होता. आणि तिथपासनं जी सुरुवात झालीये ती मग गेली 10 वर्ष ऑलमोस्ट नेचर वॉकशी मी असोसिएटेड होते, अजूनही आहे. फक्त आता लग्न आणि जॉब आणि दिल्लीमध्ये सेटल झाल्यामुळे थोडंसं काम जे आहे ते कमी झालेलं आहे.
Sania, can you please also tell us about your association with Nature Walk and how did you pursue your liking for environment?
Yes. Hi, Arshada and Smriti. Thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction.
Sonia,
And
just a minute.
yes,
So I'm really sorry, but the panel, there are many requests which are coming in the chat box that please can you brief us or can you talk to us in English or Hindi? That is
Yeah.
Okay, I will try. नक्कीच.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Sanya, over to you.
yeah. So thank you so much, Harshada and Smriti for introducing me and providing us this platform to connect with the old Nature Walk team members and also to share our story. I would like to share that how the journey started with Nature Walk. So first thing I would like to thank Anuj Dada, Anuj Khare. He is the biggest source of motivation, I think, for all of us. He has given us immense exposure in every stage. So firstly, he has given exposure in terms of organizing events like Birdfest. Secondly, he has taken us to different forest areas, wildlife sanctuaries, where he told us to conduct forest guard training programs. And that was the first time we were presenting something. Also, I exactly remember the event which happened in Yashwantrao Auditorium, where Clement Francis, the amazing photographer, had come. And Anusada told me to, he gave me the responsibility of comparing. And the famous author Anil Avsat was also there, Clement Francis was also there. So these are opportunities where I got the exposure to, I got the exposure for comparing was the helped me to overcome the stage fear and also gave me a lot of exposure. So I think he has provided knowledge bank, including Mahajan sir, who is a botanist, then Kiran Purandare, ornithologist, and introducing us to the famous photographers Clement Francis and Ritiman. So I think Nature Walk has surely played a great role in enhancing the knowledge, skills, and mindsets related to wildlife.
Okay, thank you. Neha, the next question is for you. Can you please tell us something about your association with Nature Walk?
Hello everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much, Nature Walk Charitable Trust, Harshada and Smruti and Atulya, for giving us this opportunity. So our Nature Walk is kind of a, holds a very special place in our heart. So Nature Walk Association has been there, for us for like almost more than 10 years. So the first experience for me, which, gave me opportunity to talk in public was next in front of 500 people. So that was the first opportunity which Anujdada gave me to, overcome the public speaking fear. And that is helping me a lot to deliver lectures and whatever I am today right now. So that was the first association for Nature Walk to me, starting from Katta. So it's been tremendous support, and also it was great, learning experience through many, what you can say, guidance from Girish Jathar sir, Clement Francis sir, many photographers, even from my fellow, volunteers like Pallavi, Ashwin, who taught me more about spiders. Ashwin taught me more about spiders. And, it is a learning experience, not just from the, guidance from Nature Walk Charitable Trust, but it was there from fellow volunteers also.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ashwin, what are your thoughts, views about associating with Nature Walk?
I'm audible now?
Yeah.
So, thanks Harshada, Smruti, and Nature Walk. It feels weird to say thanks to my own family, but yeah, it's been a long time. And ordinarily would have been talking like this in a small classroom with a lot of people, which is definitely out of its capacity. But yeah, the circumstances are such that we are here with much more people now. And yeah, it feels great to talk about my journey. So I was in 9th standard when I was on a school trip, and one of my classmates suddenly started showing me birds, like this is kingfisher, this is black drongo, and I didn't even notice, like I didn't even know that there are birds like that exist. And I never noticed that there are birds other than sparrow, pigeons, and crows out there. And then I asked him, how do you know about these birds? How do you know even their names? And then he said that I work with an organization called Nature Walk, and I go to different forest camps in different national parks. And I said, yeah, I want to be in, like, I want to come for the next forest trip. And here my journey started. That in the next year in winter, I went to Nagzira, where I met a lot of people. Many of them are now volunteers. They were volunteers with me when we were all working together. And yeah, that was my first camp, and that was the first time I got first exposed to a forest. Like, the concept of forest, which is told to us in stories or in written description, is much different than when you actually go into forest. It's very different, and it's much more intriguing than what is written many of the times. And I fell in love with it. So I decided that I will pursue my hobby with this, and I will keep associated myself with Nature Walk. At the end of that trip, that camp, I was gifted a small book of Snakes of Maharashtra as a token of being enthusiastic. And that was really, really encouraging. So I started coming to this event called Katta, which I'm proudly saying that it's going there for last more than 25 years now. Every Friday, it's been consistently going in a small classroom with overly filling people. And yeah, we used to discuss a lot of things. So there I started getting introduced to many people in this field. I got to know that there are several people there itself in Pune city who are working in wildlife. And I was just a school kid, but of course, like, slowly what happened was this typical career thing came in, where a lot of my my relatives started telling my parents that he's going for wildlife. Is there really a career in it? And then kind of pressurized me that no, maybe there is no career. You should go, if you're really interested in this, you're interested in biology, go for medical. And then my CET score of 50% showed me that now I didn't have knack for it. And yes, so for 10th and 12th, those 2 years, I really couldn't give a lot of time to Nature Walk. But my results showed me where I really want to go. And I started coming to Katta back again. And then that was the first time when Anuj Dada, Mr. Anuj Khare, he actually made me stand up in front of some 50, 60 odd people. And there was a speaker who was going to speak there, and he asked me to introduce him. And I was really frightened. He said, no, you have to start somewhere. And then he just pushed me in front of that crowd. And the first thing I said was, we have today the speaker, and I forgot the name. And the speaker is standing right in front of me. He started laughing. Everyone started laughing. But yeah, that was a really good push. After that, I started going to a lot of different nature camps. Then Anuj Dada took me to a lot of different training sessions. That's when I developed interest in spiders. That was also very interesting. We had a festival, after which Mr. Kiran Purandare and Anuj Dada, both of them had a session with all the volunteer team. And they said that you are really interested in this field of wildlife. Why don't you choose one species or taxon which you are really interested in, and maybe pursue it further, and not just identify a species, but just go beyond it and see what that species does, how its role, it has a role in its system and how it plays. And then everyone started picking up birds, mammals, butterflies, different. I was like, I want to maybe go for something else. And I don't know, I just randomly picked up spiders, and everyone said, oh, that's different. Why don't, like, it's interesting. Let's see, after 6 months, where do you go? And I took it as a challenge. And when I actually started studying spiders, I got interested in it, and I got to know about the research part of this ecology and wildlife, and then slowly persuaded. So that's where Nature Walk played a biggest role of encouraging me and like helping me build up network with a lot of people. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Ashwin. Over to you, Swaroop. We would like to hear your experience as well. Swaroop, we have, yeah.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, thank you, Harshada. So my association with Nature Walk was a complete chance event. For the first time I attended one of the festivals when I didn't even know that such programs were conducted in Pune. And that was the first time I came to know that there is an NGO called Nature Walk, and it was fun attending it. After that, in that program itself, they told everyone that there is weekly katta on Friday and everyone should attend. So then my holidays were going on, so I wanted something to do, so I went to Katta. And there is a typical tradition during Katta, that after the Katta, all the volunteers sit under the tamarind tree, which is there in NMV, and they discuss about the Katta or the events which they want to organize. And I saw people over there. I saw people going to Anuj Dada and asking, can we also volunteer for this? And I was like, why shouldn't I also ask? But I was scared. Maybe he would say no. Maybe he would not allow me. And I just went there and I was like, I want to participate in this. I want to help in organizing these events. And Anuj Dada was like, okay, come to office tomorrow where we have a meeting. Just come to it. And that was it. That was the start. And I was not much involved in the public speaking part of the programs and all, but I learned a lot about different management skills. And Anuj Dada is actually a very, very efficient leader, and we can see that from the fact that he is, for so many years, he has kept this entire group of volunteers together, even if people have gone to different places for work or other things, but we are still together and in contact with each other. So I like that a lot.
Thank you so much, Varun.
We have with us Mr. Mohan Thomas, who recently just now joined our webinar session. Sir, I welcome you to the webinar session.
And also, I guess with Mohan Thomas on the panel or in our panel discussion, we have one more prospect to our green careers, wherein we have a renowned wildlife photographer, Mr. Mohan Thomas. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Moving on with the panel discussion, I would like to ask next question. Now let's move on to careers and what can be done when you have liking for environment and wildlife. So first question I would like to ask is Sania. So Sania, we all know right now also when we introduced you, we told that you have been working in Manipur with Sunbird Trust and you have been educating teachers as well as students, and also we have read many stories about your teaching experiences. But when we talk about it, you have done your master's in MSc Biodiversity. So we would like to know something more about how did you choose to do your master's in biodiversity? Also, how is it helping you in your current work? Because your work is not directly related to environment, but how are you trying to incorporate environment learning into your work?
Yeah. So basically, after doing graduation in biotechnology, as I joined Nature Walk and as I got exposed to different people and places which are related to wildlife, I thought suddenly my inclination went towards wildlife. And as you said, my core is mostly education, but I try to integrate whatever I've learned throughout these years about wildlife. And being like working in the field of education for the last 5 years, I've realized that education is the best tool to bring out any change in the society. So if you take any example of any challenge that you come across, if you try to find out the root, it lies in education. So I've worked in different places. So my journey started after completing Masters in Biodiversity. I skipped the idea of pursuing research because I thought that it's not my cup of tea to pursue PhD like Ashwin is doing, which I really admire. So I thought that I am the person who loves to explore different things and integrate different things at the same platform. So I have inclination towards wildlife, music, and so many other different things, and education gives me that platform to integrate all these things at one particular place. So after doing my master's, I was working as a science resource person in a village called Vai in Maharashtra. And post that, I started pursuing a fellowship called as Teach for India. So all those youngsters who really want to know what exactly is the fellowship, please visit the website and read more about Teach for India Fellowship. The 2 years where I worked in the organization of Teach for India, the 2 years were really transforming for me. And I highly recommend this fellowship for people who want to work in the field of education. So that school as a unit of change gave me a platform to apply and implement the skills and knowledge that I have. So I started with a waste management project. Then I got exposed to a place called Ladakh, where I worked in a school. It's called as Sek Mall. So everyone is aware of the Phuntsuk Wangdo school. So that's the same school, and I worked there for a month. And that sort of created a connection with the mountains. And that's from there I decided to pursue or link my interest of traveling and exploring mountains and education together. So then post that I started working in Rishikesh in a village called Gullardogi, and then I started working in Manipur in a remote village. So in all these places where I've worked, I tried to integrate wildlife. So if there is time, I would like to give one example, or else if you have any allied question, I can go with it. I have one example in my mind, but if the time is, yeah.
Just a request, we'll take that during your presentation, if that's okay.
Yeah. Sure. That's why I asked.
During the presentation. Thank you so much. Moving on to
the next question is for Ashwin. So Ashwin Dada, we all know that WII is one of the best institutes for wildlife education. So can you please elaborate on your WII journey and what were the career prospects and every bit of journey which you shared?
And also we would like to know about the scholarship which you got to go into WII.
So with WII, it was when after my bachelor's was in zoology, BSc zoology in Fergusson College, and after that my interest, I was sure that I have interest in spiders and I want to pursue a career in research. And what made me do that was I was kind of discovering several opportunities, what kind of career I can have, that because I was very much sure that I want to pursue career in wildlife. Although again, the second wave of this relatives nagging about there is no career in wildlife came, and I started thinking about some other areas and kind of maybe keep wildlife as hobby. And then one of my friend came to me and said that tell me what you're interested in. I said I'm interested in neuroscience. And then he said, how much do you know about neuroscience? And I was speechless. I couldn't say anything. And he said, tell me something about spiders. And I kept talking. And he said, see, I can see that you yourself can see you have interest in spiders, you have interest in wildlife. I know how much birding you do. I know how you look at the surroundings, the environment. So then I started exploring more opportunities. And I realized that perhaps I had very little time because I was just done with my BSc. And I realized that I need some time. So I decided to take a break of 1 year. And I really thanked my family because my family members agreed to this. It's not easy for everyone to persuade their parents that they want to take 1 year break at that stage of their teaching. And just I don't know, I didn't know what to do. And then I started looking at different institutions. I realized that there is Wildlife Institute of India, there is National Center for Biological Sciences. Both of these institutes conduct a course on MSc in Wildlife Science. Then there is Pondicherry University's MSc in Ecology and Environment, which is also a really good course. So all these courses are really like stalwart courses, I can say, in India. And then I started exploring options abroad also, because I was not really finding a lot of people who are working on spiders and how much I can pursue that. So I started looking at people who are working abroad and started applying to universities there. But somehow funding is always the issue there, and that didn't work out. And meanwhile, I kept applying for these institutions, and Wildlife Institute of India's applications are every alternate year. So once they take a batch of MSc students, they train them. Once they pass out, then only they take the next batch. So it's always every alternate year. And I was fortunate to have that application round at that year. And I applied for that I think there is an examination that you have to give, which is all there in most of the capital cities. It is conducted, and this examination is otherwise, I would say, it's simple as well as sometimes can be difficult. It all depends on how much you keep yourself updated in this field. So how much you know about the ongoings of what is happening to different species, what is happening to tigers, elephants, birds, snakes, reptiles, what are the amendments in the laws, what are the environmental agencies doing in India right now, what are the crises we are facing, what are the good things, what are the conservation successes we are having. If you keep yourself updated about these things, as well as if you are really a good learner about, or you learned it really well, your biology in your bachelor's, then I would say it's really easy to crack that exam. They do ask you about something about current affairs also, but most of these current affairs are more or less related to wildlife only. So I would say it's not like you can start studying for that exam a week ago and then just crack it, but you have to keep yourself updated, keep reading about it for a year. You can't really prepare for that exam. You just have to be ready in general. So that would help you. And after that, there is an interview. And I can proudly say that WI is a place where they really want people who are highly motivated and really inspired to work in this field of wildlife. They don't expect you to be knowing a lot about wildlife, or they don't expect you to have a lot of experience. Of course, your experience, if you have experience, that would be kind of, that is respected, that is appreciated. But what they really seek is your real motivation. And that's how the questions are asked in the interview, because their motto is not is to mainly to train you and to expose you to different facets of wildlife science. The wildlife science is not about only research. It is about research-based conservation. There is conservation-based research. There is active conservation. There is policy making. There is environmental law. There is political ecology, which is a very interesting field in wildlife science or ecology. So all these facets they introduce you to, and they try to train you, give you hands-on experience to all these things. So that's how the WI journey went, and I really appreciate their effort and the way they train people and every MSc batch. I guess that was mainly the question, Harshada, Smriti.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I guess WII is something like where every wildlife enthusiast who wants to go in this field is dreaming about. But as we go ahead with the panel, we would like to know more about it. But for the time being, moving ahead, I would like to ask next question to Mrs. Neha Doshi Natu. So, Neha, we all know that you have been running a startup called Ecomate Ecological Services. And before that, you took your master's degree in environment science. But then how would you relate all this together, that usually when people do MSc environment still studies, they are more about, okay, now I'll go into teaching, or maybe now I'll go into research, or maybe at most of the times what is believed that you do nothing after doing that.
Correct.
But can you tell us about how you went into this idea of having a startup? And also, what would you suggest that if we go into MSc environment, will the students have a better opportunity to bring in startups? Kindly brief us about that. Okay, Neha.
Yeah. Hi. So my basic graduation is from like BSc Environmental Science, and then I pursued it again, from the same college called as Ferguson College in Pune, which is very famous, and who is also offering the same courses in Pune University also. And there are many people who didn't know about it, that there is such course exist in Pune called as an environmental science. So first of all, there was no knowledge about it. Like बहुत सारे लोगों को पता ही नहीं था कि ऐसे कोर्स है. And then again pursuing it from BSc and then again MSc. It was a great challenge because बहुत सारे लोग पूछते थे क्या करिए झाड़ों पौधों में, क्या करिए. So that was the triggering point कि नहीं, झाड़ पौधे सिर्फ हमारे लिए नहीं है, बट हमें भी उनके लिए कुछ करना पड़ेगा. So urban landscaping was the first, word which got introduced to me when I was in college. I was attending one conference in Nagpur. So that was the triggering point for me. So bachelor I got a question here. So many people ask me that I have done my BA.
Neha, there's a lag from your side.
Okay.
Can you repeat from the point where you started bachelor's degree?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. So मैंने BSc एनवायरमेंटल साइंस किया फर्ग्यूसन कॉलेज से, और उसी वक्त मैंने डिसाइड कर लिया था कि मुझे इसी करियर में कुछ आगे करना है. सो आई परस्यू MSc एनवायरमेंटल साइंस फ्रॉम फर्ग्यूसन कॉलेज itself, and when I was doing that, I attended one conference in Nagpur. So there I got introduced to one word called as urban landscaping. Many people used to ask me, झाड़ों पौधों में, फॉरेस्ट में, वाइल्ड लाइफ में क्या करियर है, क्या कर सकती है तू, उससे कुछ नहीं होगा. इंस्टेड ऑफ दैट परस्यू समथिंग विच इज वेरी वेल स्ट्रीम्ड, मेन लाइन स्ट्रीम, लाइक डॉक्टर, इंजीनियर, और मे बी अ कंप्यूटर साइंस ग्रेजुएट. बट my point, or my deciding factor was when I joined the PCB group, that is physics, chemistry and biology, in 11th itself. So I dropped mathematics by career deciding कि मुझे biology में ही कुछ करना है. So I don't want to introduce mathematics, or I don't want to get stressed being PCMB group. So PCB which I opted. So उसी टाइम मेरे बाकी सारे ऑप्शंस एंड हो गए थे कि जो मैथमेटिक्स लगेंगे. सो उसके बाद BSc किया, MSc किया. I was having little knowledge about urban landscaping, or you can say it urban architectural, or urban environmental education, environmental architecture. So such words bombarded me to go ahead with this. So there are certain vocational institutes in Pune. So there is one sister concern of Fergusson College itself called as Jagannath Rathi Vocational Guidance and Training Institute, which offers many vocational courses. So I took 1 year course, from same JRVGTI for the landscape designing. I was having knowledge of plants. I was having knowledge who will attract, birds or wildlife to your doorsteps. So, but I didn't have any designing knowledge. And doing architecture after MSc was a tedious job, because I had to, invest 5 years of my life to get that architecture degree for the basic designing thing. So I decided to do 1 year landscape designing course, which taught me right from how to draw a sketch. And now I can, proudly say that I am more into designing, incorporating my environmental science knowledge into designing things. Hello, Harshada.
Yeah, thank you so much. Neha, I have put up the name for the institute which you suggested, JRVGTI. I also request you to kindly put up the name for the diploma which you had done for urban landscaping.
Yes.
And I guess a point to note here for everyone is that she has chosen something which is very complementary to what she did in her master's. And I guess urban landscaping is something which everybody can think of these days, because anyways, during situations like lockdowns and pandemics all over the world, we need nature with us. So this can be a good option for all the plant lovers. Neha, so definitely put in your course name in the chat box.
Yeah, I just want to add one point, that not just Jagannath Rathi Vocational and Guidance Training Institute offers such courses, but there are many institutes in Pune who are offering 3 months course, or like 6 months course, or 1 month course, which are basics of gardening. They will not teach you just how to pot a plant, but they will teach you how to, incorporate science into landscaping, or science into gardening.
Oh, thank you, Neha. The next question is for Pallavi. So Pallavi, you have actually your degree is not in any of the environment field, but you have done a lot of supplementary courses like entomology or herpetology and ornithology. So can you please tell us how are these courses actually helping you in your day-to-day tasks and your role as a lecturer now?
Okay. So
Uh,
basically, I
Pallavi,
have
Pallavi,
complete.
just a
Ha,
minute. Just a minute. Sorry
yes,
to
yes,
interrupt.
yes, yes,
Someone's
yes. Okay.
microphone is on. Please, can you mute yourselves? Yes, thank you so much. You can go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So I completed 3 courses. First of all, certificate course in ornithology. Ornithology is a study of birds. Second, certificate course in entomology, which is a study of insects, and certificate course in wildlife education. That course is going continuously in the Nature Walk. Nature Walk and Jividha, both the NGOs are conducted it in every year. So basically, ornithology, entomology, and wildlife education. In that courses, I learned very basic concepts, and basically not only basic concepts, scientific knowledge of each and every animal. Okay, so give you the example of entomology. So entomology is the study of insects.
Yes.
Pallavi, I guess.
Scientific knowledge.
Pallavi, I think there's a lag from your side. Can you please repeat from where you started?
Like entomology stands for study of.
Yes, yes, yes. Entomology stands for the study of insects, only insects. Okay, so insect is like the definition of insect is in a simple or very common language is 6-legged animals or 6-legged organisms. Okay, so जिनको सिर्फ insect. So उसमें spiders, crabs ये जो है, these are not included in insects or entomology. So they have different category. So basically, in that course entomology, I learned very basic and each and every insect, and in that there are so many other renowned lecturer or renowned professor, PhD holder, which gave us the lecture and which taught us. So in that, I would like to take a name like Professor Hemant Ghate. So he was HOD in a modern college, Shivaji Nagar, and he taught us about सो मुझे लगता है कि कॉकरोच आपको सबको पता है, तो किसी को पसंद नहीं है बेसिकली कॉकरोचेस. हम कॉकरोच दिखा तो हम मार देते हैं उसको. तो उन्होंने इस तरीके से स्लाइड्स दिखाए और इस तरीके से हमें बताया कि वो स्ट्रक्चर, एनाटॉमी, फिजियोलॉजी एंड ऑल. तो इससे हमें कॉकरोचेस का जो डर है, तो मुझे जो डर था वो बिल्कुल ही चला गया. और जब अब हमारे घर पे कॉकरोच आते हैं या कोई भी इंसेक्ट आता है करती हूँ. ओके, so without killing it, I observe it because I know that what is the anatomy, what is the physiology, and most important thing, I know what is the role of that particular so basically हम करते हैं कि if we see it actually अगर वो हमें हार्मफुल है, अगर वो हमें तंग कर रहा है, कुछ बहुत ज्यादा हमारा नुकसान कर रहा है, then we can kill it to kill that particular insect. क्योंकि सिस्टम में या इस एनवायरनमेंट में वैसे ही उस इंसेक्ट हो या कोई भी एनिमल हो, उसका एक रोल होता है. और अगर वो रोल आपको पता चल जाए, उसका इम्पोर्टेंस आपको पता चल जाए, तो हम नहीं मारेंगे उसको, या हमें थोड़ा सा ये लगेगा मारने से पहले कि हमें नहीं मारना चाहिए. आई विल सारे आपके डे टू डे लाइफ में होता होगा बहुत सारे. जनरली लेडीज लोग जो है या लेडीज जो है वो इसको ऑब्जर्व करती होंगी. हमारे घर पे व्हीट आटा होता है, गेहूं का आटा, जिससे हम रोटी बनाते हैं. और वो जो आटा होता है, उस आटे को जनरली समर टाइम में जैसे मई या लगती है. ओके, और वो जो चींटियां हैं वो उस आटे का एक एक जो पार्टिकल है वो लेके जाती है. ऐसे हमें दिखता है, वो एक लाइन फॉर्म करती है और वो लेके जाती है. सबसे पहले हमारी ये रिएक्शन होती है कि कितनी सारी चींटियां लग करके मतलब हटाना चाहिए बेसिकली. तो अगर आपको इसका रीजन पता चलेगा कि ये क्यों करती है ऐसा, देन यू वुड डेफिनेटली ही करना चाहिए। तो बेसिकली इन समर सीजन और बारिश होने से पहले ये जो है ये अपना जो घर में अपना जो घर होता है, चींटियों का जो घर होता है, वहां पे वो फूड गैदरिंग करती है। ओके, तो आप लेट देम डू दैट। ओके, इससे हमारा कोई नुकसान नहीं होगा, लेकिन वो जो एंट्स है, एंट्स की कॉलोनी है, उनका observe each and every particular thing when you completed this kind of courses, and your perspective to look at each and every organism, animal is totally changed. So मेरे साथ ही ऐसा ही हुआ. So I completely see on the other hand कि animals और मारना क्यों नहीं चाहिए, basically. That's it.
Thank you, Pallavi.
Pallavi, just a suggestion. There is a lag maybe from your side, so please kindly check your connections.
Yeah, actually there is a lag
Yeah,
in
yeah.
connection.
No problem. Moving on. Now you would like to ask Swaroop. So Swaroop, currently you're working in Bangalore, and I heard that last Saturday only you came back to Pune. So first of all, happy quarantine from all of us. But moving on, what would you like to tell us about your current work? And also, because you also have taken your degree in MSc Environment. So how many a times the images that, okay, environment, now you have the opportunity to go to different places in India, visit different landscapes, study them. That's the entire lucrative nature of it. And yeah, the environmentalists are happy. But what would you tell us about your journey, and how did you come into research, and what were your struggles while being on the field?
Okay, so the first part of your question, what I am doing currently, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So currently I'm working as a research assistant in Azim Premji University with Dr. Harini Nagendra. I work on urban ecology, urban bird ecology to be specific. So what I'm looking at is, so all the animals, they possess a certain traits that are characteristics that help them survive in their habitat. So we know a lot about from our courses. We know a lot about traits like some song structure. In case of birds, some strong song structure, or defense against predators. What kind of defense these animals possess against predators. Such things. So these are all traits of these animals, personalities or characteristics. So what I'm looking at is that if we look at urban areas or cities as ecosystems, where all these ecological functions are taking place. So what are the modifications in these characteristics that the animals have undergone to survive in an urban habitat? So that's basically what I'm trying to understand, and that's what I plan to pursue for my PhD as well. Before coming to Azim Premji University, I was not sure if I wanted to work in an urban landscape. I was because like everyone in the who wants to work in the field of wildlife, I was also fascinated by traveling to different jungles and living over there for an extended period of time, and working in a forest away from away from cities and all the problems of cities. So I worked in Wildlife Institute of India. I worked in the All India Tiger Estimation Project, where I carried out camera trapping surveys and distance sampling techniques to basically see the status of tigers, co-predators, and their preys in the forests of India. So I was very excited that finally I'm getting to do what I wanted. I want to go and live in the jungle. And I had also done an internship during my master's where I worked in Nagzira Navega forest for about 1.5 months. And I liked it a lot. So I thought it was my thing. And I went to the forest, and there are a lot of things that we take for granted, we don't know about. And I really think that if anyone who wants to work in the field of wildlife in a wild or natural habitat, they should keep these things in mind. First of all, you are in a remote place, so you have to accept that you may not get networks, and uh, you have to solve all the problems you have on the field by yourself. So basically before going to the field, you have to familiarize yourself with all the things that can go wrong, basically, and prepare for that. You have to have talking skills, because you'll have to interact with the forest department. You'll have to get permissions from them to enter the forest, what to do in the forest. You have to train the forest guards to work for you apart from their usual duties. So you have to have that people skill. um, and yeah, so basically these are the struggles that everyone should be aware of before going to the field, because once you go to the field, you are on your own. Sometimes you are not able to contact your supervisors or your headquarters, and it's a very difficult situation to be in. Yeah, Harshada, was there another question in this? I'm sorry.
No, like this was what we expected. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah. So moving on with the next round of questions. Our first question is to Mr. Ashwin. So Ashwin, right now you told us about how to go to WII. But when it comes to wildlife, we all, since our young age, or like since we started liking wildlife or environment, we all have heard about institutions like WWF, that is World Wildlife Fund, BNHS, Bombay Natural History Society, for that matter, Sanctuary Asia, or even WTI, Wildlife Conservation Trust, WCT. But can you give us a reality check on really whether there are any placement opportunities which approach you so easily and you get to fulfill your dreams by working for them? So what's the probability that if I'd start dreaming about, oh yeah, I want to work in BNHS, what's the probability that I would end up there or I wouldn't end up there? So kindly brief us and give us a reality check that what is the situation and how will it turn out to be?
Yeah. So one very important thing first time is the field of wildlife and ecology is a wonderful field in this sense that it doesn't really ask you to be a student of biology every time. If you are not, if you have learned something else, if you have done your education till BSc in something else, there is still scope, because the field itself is so interdisciplinary that whatever you have learned so far, you can always apply it in this field of ecology and wildlife. So I know a lot of my colleagues, a lot of my friends who have not done their bachelor's in biology, who didn't have biology at all, and they are still doing PhD. They are still doing research. There are engineers, there are architects, there are people who have done their initial education in mathematics, statistics, psychology, and they are also working in the field of wildlife and ecology, because it's such an interdisciplinary field. The people are also a very integrated aspect of this field. So one need not be very concerned about it's like, of course, if you have an education in biology, it gives you an advantage, but that doesn't mean that if you don't have an education in biology, you don't have chance at all. That is definitely not the case. It all depends on how much effort you take. So the second part about this field is it all depends, your progress all depends on how much you are learning and how much you are applying whatever you have learned, how much you use your previous experience to your next experience or to your next work. So I would say that there is always one thing that as I initially said, that I really appreciate the role of NGOs, the non-governmental organization like NatureWalk, in promoting people, in encouraging people, because many people are interested in, let's say, in biodiversity. I can very broadly say, because we tend to see butterflies in our gardens, we tend to see different birds, but we generally don't know about them. And then these NGOs actually introduce us by arranging different walks, by arranging different sessions like talks and PPT presentations by different experts. And then we get to know what we're observing has some terms. There is a pattern that exists. And then we want to learn more. Now, then few people start birding, few people start observing butterflies, reptiles, mammals, amphibians. And then that's how it starts. But I can say that you can't really miraculously parachute from your hobby as wildlife watching to directly research career. There is a long way in between. And there are again two things. So one can decide either to pursue an academic program, which is very different from working in an NGO. Like WWF or BNHS or several other NGOs are there, several other organizations and institutions are there who have different kind of agendas that they want to work on. There are different projects that they're working on. Someone is working on otters, some people are working on turtles, elephants, tigers, spiders, butterflies. So they have agenda, and then when you want to get into that, you kind of like there is an agenda that you want to work for. You have given a certain kind of work. While if you want to get into academic program, there is no agenda as such. They are actually training you to be thinkers. They want to train you to think scientifically, to think in the what this field needs or what kind of work you can do in this field of wildlife. You want to do research or conservation or different things. And yeah, so one more step, like once you, let's say if you have an NGO background, let's in the cities like Pune, Mumbai or Bangalore, it's really easy. But now the NGOs are getting built up in several places outside also, like in different cities and different towns also. And these play a really good role. Now the next step is you apply for certain internship positions. So several of these institutions and these NGOs, when their projects are going on, they ask for interns. There is a mailing list called Meet Yeti, MEET, Meet Yeti. You can register on, if you just type Meet Yeti on Google, you will get a link where it asks you to put your email ID, and then you can start getting emails. So all the people who are working in India in the field of wildlife and they have their own projects and then they want interns and they want help, they put an advertisement there and then you can apply. So initially you may not get a paid internship. Many people think that, oh, I should get a paid internship. But I would like to emphasize that in today's world, if you have like someone is paid as an intern if he has or she has some skill or some kind of experience that they can use in the project that they are applying for. But if you're going as a learner, you may not be paid all the time. There might not be a provision in every project to paid interns who are kind of coming there to learn. But I would say it should not always hinder you that you're not getting paid. You should just deny the internship if you're really getting a good experience, because that experience of an unpaid internship you can use for your next internship or the next position you apply, because then you say that I have this experience. And I would really suggest that all those youngsters, all those early, like they're at a very early stage of their career, they should very carefully decide and explore these opportunities. Whenever they're getting these opportunities, they should ask for kind of an invitation letter, because maybe in academic institutions, you may have several policies which can let you deal with several issues, but not all the organizations can have that. So one needs to be also careful that you should get an invitation letter, you should get an appreciation certificate at the end of it that you can use when you go to a next internship program. And when you do that, when you go for internship, you tend to build up your network with different people. And yes, so there are several stages of internships, research assistants. So of course, certain positions in certain NGOs and institutions need you to have certain degree like BSc in biology, zoology. Many of them are now exploring more interdisciplinary people. So they don't really say we need BSc in zoology or BSc in botany, but they say a BSc degree in life science or a BSc degree even in some other field can be appreciated if you show your interest in the interview or in your application. So these things help. And I can say the field is really growing a lot. Like 10 years back, there were very few people working on wildlife, but in just 10 years, there are a tremendous amount of people who are interested in wildlife, who are working. Institutions have different projects that are getting sanctions. They need people. And yeah, I would say the probability is not very low, but it all depends on how much effort one takes. So, and one more thing that one thing that you can increase, if you want to increase your probability of getting an internship, there are certain things you can keep in mind, like being able to drive a car or a bike is very important, because many of these internships need you to do field work. And if you're not able to drive a car or a bike, then yeah, there is one disadvantage to the person who is hiring you, right? So definitely these skills, if you already learn and you make it as a skill set, and when you emphasize on it when you're applying for such internships, it definitely increase your chance of getting selected. So I would say there are NGOs like BNHS, then Wildlife Conservation Trust, WCT, then Wildlife Conservation Society, WCS, who have every summer they have internship programs, summer internship programs, where they ask people to come to field. They train them to use camera traps, to deploy camera traps, how to read the forest, how to read the animal movements. Then there is Indian Academy of Sciences has summer internship program for BSc students every year. And for all the 3 years of BSc, if I'm not wrong, and you can apply. There is a list of scientists they give. Then you can go to those scientists' websites and see what they're working on. You can choose your interest and write to that scientist. Then the scientist writes you back saying that, yeah, he is interested in taking you as a student for 3 months. And yeah, these are paid internships. So then you apply to that Indian Academy of Sciences summer internship program, say that I have been, I have talked to this person, I want to apply to their lab to work with them. And then you have 3 months of your summer break in your education, which you can spend in these institutions working on different aspects and explore this field. So yeah, one must decide that if you have motivation to do this and explore it.
Thank you so much, Ashwin. The next question is for Sania.
Also, just a minute. Really sorry to all the participants. We are running a little behind time, but I'm sure that you all are enjoying what our panelists are sharing on the panel. And also, I request the panelists to keep a check on the chat box. There are requests for ways and means to contact you. So please provide with your email addresses or any business contact numbers if you have. Kindly do the needful. Thank you so much. Moving on with next question to Ms. Sania.
Sania, actually, we know that you have traveled a lot from Rishikesh, Manipur, and all the places, and you have been working as an educator since many years now, and in the remote of villages. So, what inspires you to, stay away from home? It is a challenge to actually leave your house and actually go there and work for these people. So, what actually inspires you daily? It's a daily inspiration, I feel. And were there any salary consequences which were which were associated with this? So can you please brief about it? Thank you.
Okay, so first thing is, what motivates me is I love my job. At the end of the day, I'm totally satisfied with whatever I'm doing, and I'm happy that I'm pursuing my passion. So that motivates me. Of course, I've started valuing more about natural resources. I've started valuing natural resources after working in these NGOs, because I usually get placed in a remote location, and there you are like you don't get basic needs, like you can't fulfill your basic needs, and that's why you start appreciating little things more efficiently. And regarding the second question you asked, I want to say that there is a very wrong assumption about NGOs that you get paid less when it comes to NGOs. So of course I volunteered for Nature Walk, of course I volunteered for many other NGOs, but when I wanted to pursue career in education, it's my field, so it's not a social work that I'm doing. So I work as a teacher, trainer, or school leader professionally, where I get paid professionally, and that professional experience I got because of the organization I mentioned earlier, that was Teach for India. So it's a professional organization creating leaders across India and across the world, because there are many other organizations which are sister concerns of Teach for India, like there is Teach for Australia, Teach for Ghana, Teach for America. It started from Teach for America. So actually you get exposed to this network all over the world, and this exposure, like it's a immense great experience. So I want to first erase the image that we have about NGOs. So people do work professionally in NGOs and they get paid well in NGOs. So the good part was I could save almost entirely my salary in Manipur where I was working, because I hardly could spend, I hardly used to go to restaurants because there were no restaurants actually. So actually I could save all the entire salary. So that was the point that I wanted to mention, that if you're really good at something, there's a quote, right? Never do it for free. So if you're considering education or any field as a profession, develop your skills professionally so that you get paid well. Yeah.
Thank you,
Ashita.
Tanya.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Moving on to Swaroop. Swaroop, the next question for you is that usually you have preferred to go into hardcore research after MSc environment. And also there are many questions in the chat box which are asking about I'm pursuing maybe wildlife or environment right now. So many a times what usually students or people who are choosing for environment faces that they have kind of hesitance from their family members or maybe society in general, because still in India, when it's about research, it has to be quite scientific, which is considered related to engineering, chemistry, physics. And when you have chosen to do your research in such a niche field, what were your struggles and how did you overcome those negative approaches, or even how did you overcome all the discouraging factors which I think you must have got like any other family would give to their children? Because usually when we go back to our parents and we say that we want to do something in environment, many a times it's like keep it as a hobby, take some vocational training, do some engineering or become a doctor, earn for yourself and then go and roam jungles. So what is your say on this?
Yeah, okay, I'm unmuted. So I was lucky enough that my parents completely supported me in my choice of career. But yeah, I do understand that people have reservations regarding these fields which are not which are different from the usual ones. But what I have observed is that even people who have done engineering or medical sciences, they are now switching careers and going towards environment conservation or research. And the skill sets which these people acquire during their courses are extremely beneficial or useful when they apply it to environmental conservation related careers or research related careers. Yeah, and if in my case, the only issue I feel is compared to these other regular fields, the pay is less in the research right now. But if you go all the way to PhD, it takes more time to build a solid career in research. So that is one of the reservations people have, that it takes time. But I think once you reach that age, it is way more fulfilling, and you get the sense of doing something for the society or this world. And I think as it is well known, it is now said that people do the world does not need more engineers and doctors now. We need people who want to actually conserve the world we are living in, because it is going towards a disaster. So I would say that in future, these research and conservation fields are going to be more in demand compared to the technology ones. And also the technology, the people who have pursued technology, they can apply their knowledge in the field of environment and conservation and research in a very nice and effective way. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Swaroop. The next question is, moving on, the next question is for Pallavi. So, Pallavi, we know that you are currently based now in Delhi. So, and the entire education was in Pune. So there is always a uncertainty in migration. And when now you are working as a lecturer, so can you please elaborate on all the uncertainties possible there? And also, there, when we talk about education on an education level, I think there is always a what we can say a backward mindset of people in Delhi, that we are the SSC and the HSC state boards are always inferior, and we have a higher level of education. So do you face any consequences there? So can you please add to it?
Yes, basically in metro cities, when you migrate from one metro city to another metro city, you generally don't get any uncertainty or any very big problem, because every metro city has a job opportunities. But yes, I can say in Delhi the competition is more than in Pune. So you have to work hard. You have to be a presenter, or you have to present yourself in a very a good manner. So competition is in Delhi is very tough. So that you have to survive. Second thing, CBSE and SSC boards. I realize, or I actually generally see every day that there is one major difference in the students, not in CBSE or SSC. I want to just talk about the students or kids in Delhi and in Pune. In Delhi, every kid or every students, they don't know much, or they don't aware about any kind of environment or nature or wildlife things. So basically, most of the kids, students are watching Discovery Channel, Nat Geo Wild, and all these channels, wildlife related. And in that channels, generally they show all the exotic animals, exotic insect, exotic birds, which is not indigenous or which is more not found in India. So इस तरीके के जो फिल्म्स होते हैं वो जनरली डिस्कवरी, नेट जियो पे जो यहाँ के बच्चे हैं वो देखते हैं. सो दे डोंट नो अबाउट द इंडियन और इंडियन स्पीशीज ऑफ बर्ड्स, इंडियन स्पीशीज ऑफ इंसेक्ट और इंडियन स्पीशीज ऑफ ट्रीज. सो ये सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट डिफरेंस है. जो पुणे के स्टूडेंट्स है, पुणे के जो किड्स हैं, जैसे हम सबको पता है पुणे इज अ कल्चरल कैपिटल ऑफ इंडिया. बहुत सारे अलग अलग प्रोग्राम्स होते हैं यहाँ पे, एनजीओज बहुत है, हर एक के प्रोग्राम्स है. तो जो बच्चे होते हैं उनको इंडिजिनस या इंडिया का कल्चर हो, फिर वो डांस हो, कोई भी हो, या फिर एनिमल्स का हो, वो पता होता है या पता चलता है. नॉट ओनली फॉर द किड्स, बट उनके जो पेरेंट्स होते हैं उनको भी ये पता है शुरू से. तो ये सबसे ज्यादा सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट डिफरेंस है यहाँ के बच्चों में और वी कैन से महाराष्ट्र में और पुणे में. तो मैं जब यहाँ पे काम करती हूँ, मैं लेक्चर देती हूँ, मैं बायोलॉजी जब पढ़ाती हूँ, तो जनरली पीपल आस्क मी और पीपल पोस्ट फोटोग्राफ्स ऑफ एक्सोटिक एनिमल्स कि इसका नाम क्या है. या दे आर वेरी वेल नोन ऑफ चीता. ओके, चीता और जो वहाँ के जो बबून्स या हम अगर मंकीज कहे, गोरिल्लास कहे, लेकिन वो बाहर के देशों में जो मिलते हैं या जो वहां पे मिलते हैं, उनके मुझे फोटोज भेजते हैं और कहते हैं कि इनका नाम क्या है. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई टेल देम कि इट इज नॉट द इंडिजिनस और इट इज नॉट फाउंड इन इंडिया. उनको लगता है ये इंडिया में हमें मिलते हैं, हमें दिखते हैं. तो ये जो एजुकेशन है या ये जो अवेयरनेस है वो मैं करती हूँ यहाँ पे. मेरे लोकेलिटी के नियर बाय देयर आर सो मेनी केंद्रीय विद्यालय, सर्वोदय विद्यालय, नवोदय विद्यालय. तो वहां पे मैंने जाके स्लाइड शोज किए हैं, 1-2 फिल्म्स दिखाए. देन दे अंडरस्टैंड कि इंडिया के स्पीशीज कौन से है. एंड लकीली अगर आप लोग कभी भी दिल्ली आ जाओगे तो दिल्ली में सबसे ज्यादा इंडिजिनस ट्रीज की वैरायटीज है. मतलब हमारी जो कॉलोनी है वहां पे आपको एक भी एक्सोटिक प्लांट नहीं मिलेगा. Okay, so that is the main thing. So this is the main difference, that most of the people in Delhi are very well aware about the exotic animals, not the indigenous animals. So I am working on that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Pallavi Thai. Moving on with the last question for this round. The next question is to Mrs. Neha Doshi Nathu. So Neha, right now you are working in a startup, and sorry, you're a founder of a startup, Ecomate Ecological Services. So many a times when you go for such kind of ideas or such kind of startups, the public acceptability is very, very low. Because people are usually, maybe now the growing trend in Pune is people have started accepting startups like bag making, handicrafts, or something like that. But now that you are working in a startup which is related to environment and you are promoting plants, and also you're promoting that growing plants is not a everyday thing or just a time pass thing, but it has a scientific background, or it can be done with scientific ways and means. So what were the struggles which you faced during your startup was being established, and also what would you like to suggest to all those who are looking forward with ideas to start their own ventures in environment? So we would like to know your struggle and also what could they incorporate.
Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So first question of yours was how I'm facing the struggle, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So बहुत सारे लोगों को पता ही नहीं था कि हमारे इंडिया के जो प्लान्स है वो हम हमारे लैंडस्केप में यूज कर सकते हैं. So that was the first thing which I decided to throw some light, because I am closely working in association with many green building architects and also many landscape architects who are just fond of trees and who just know the form of a tree or know the form of a shrub कि ये ऐसा ग्रो होता है वैसा ग्रो होता है, but they didn't know about whether it is exotic or native. So that's how I started consulting for ecological landscape, wherein you can convert your all the landscape to from exotic landscape to the indigenous landscape. So there are many plants which look similar to what exotic plants look like, maybe the form or maybe the shape. So that's how I started consulting for many architects to incorporate indigenous trees, especially who are local. Like if I'm having a consultation in Pune, so I'll prefer having species being planted in that premises who are like local to that area. Say for example, Pune, which we see or which you used to see in and around Pune, especially on the hills and many Pashan Lake or many other hills near Pune. But the main problem was procuring those saplings, because there is no demand for such indigenous species, so there is no supply from the nurseries. So I started hunting for people who are more into indigenous, producing indigenous saplings. So I can proudly say there are around 10 to 15 people in Pune who are now supplying indigenous plants, be it a shrub or a tree, to many architects and many builders. And our PMC and also our Indian government are taking many ventures or many initiatives in that, who are also incorporating such indigenous plants, be it for providing norms or be it for completion certificates. So this was one struggle which I faced, that there was no supply of indigenous species, and so there was no procurement, or there was no plantation drives happening. That was one struggle. Second was the cost, because many people think exotic species or many people think that बहुत सारे plants ऐसे हैं जो readily available हमारे आजू बाजू के nurseries या road side nurseries में मिलते हैं. But I started giving, or I started incorporating plants as a gift. So Green Gift was one venture which I started, and I can proudly say that now that many people are opting for such gifts for their functions, be it smallest of like baby shower or maybe weddings, so that they will remember for their lifetime that yes, this was the tree or shrub gifted to me in that particular occasion or something like that, instead of giving clothes or maybe some monuments or something like that. So it took me around 4 to 5 years to incorporate. पहले लोग पूछते थे ये green gift क्या है, पौधा मर तो नहीं जाएगा. But yeah, so that was the one thing.
Thank you so much, Nia. So So this was the last round for the questions for the panel. So in that box, there are various questions. Just read out to the questions, and also there is no specific name given to the certain question. So the panelist, whoever of you think that you answer it better, please come unmute yourself, help the participants. The first question is from, I guess, she's going KCG and Bat.
I think there is some internet interruption. So we can go ahead with the questions. I guess Ashwin, Ashwin or Swaroop, you can answer. As there are many research and conservation related questions.
Sorry very much. There was a technical glitch from our side. So yeah, moving on with the questions. I guess you must have read about the zoology. Because of the technical glitch, we are not unable to read the questions. So Ashwin, Neha, Swaroop, Sanya, Pallavi, we request you to go ahead with the questions if there are any and answer them.
So there was a
Ashwin, I guess there was a question for you that currently someone is pursuing MBA and he has done his graduation in market research. So how can he get into this field?
Yeah, can you repeat the question again? Sorry.
Okay, so one of the question was that the person is has pursued market research as his graduation and has done MBA, but he would like to take up working for environment and wildlife as a full-time career. So what would you suggest?
Okay, so first of all, either he needs to decide, he or she, whoever has the question, that if you want to work in research or in active conservation, or like you want to work with an NGO, or you want to go into academia and pursue a MSc degree, PhD degree. If you want to go into academia, then I would suggest that you would try for an MSc degree, like MSc in National Center for Biological Science, or at WI, or several other, or Pondicherry University. They allow you to do MSc even if you have a degree in or bachelor's degree in some other field, like even BA. If you have a BA, Bachelor of Arts, still they allow you to take up the course of MSc, which is very important. So you can do that, or again, I have listed quite a few NGO links. So you can approach to these NGOs. Then there is Kalpavruksha, there is Current Conservation. So these NGOs, they do and several other NGOs are into policy, advising policies, or helping out several projects. So where your skill might be of use. So either you have to decide whether you want to contribute based on what you have learned so far, based on your skill set, or you want to develop a skill set in the field of wildlife biology. That would decide like how you should go for it. Yeah. Anyone else want to add anything?
Yeah, I just want to add that many people have degrees in statistics or maybe in mathematics. So if they want to contribute towards wildlife management or conservation, they can contribute into, research, or to, finalize things, or in a statistical data, they might help. I know someone who is also have gone, have taken a degree from MSc statistics, and they are doing some research in NCBS, that is in Bangalore, who are helping in like many statistical data collection and all.
Okay, thank you. Sanya, you wanted to tell something about this?
Yeah, actually, I thought it's all about integration. So whatever your specialization is, you can integrate that with wildlife and conservation. For example, one of my friend Bhavna Menon, she's currently working for Nature Conservation Foundation, and she has been working with Baiga tribe to help them to sell their products like jewelry or their local products. And she has also designed few nature games which are more interactive games. So recently I conducted one workshop which was more related to activity based learning during lockdown. And we got really amazing response where I am these days collecting all the nature games which are more activity based. And then yeah, so this is more about integrating education and natural games. So you can select your domain knowledge and then integrate it in a different way, may it design, may it maths, may it education, anything. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Like we are running behind time, so we would move on with the presentations, but also the participants whom questions we couldn't take up, I request all the panelists to put in your email addresses in the chat box so participants will be able to contact you. And you can provide them with the guidance what they need. And also, if you have any queries or any doubts or anything to share with NatureWalk, you can always email us. And also, we have our WhatsApp Wildlife Forum where we would adding all the panelists. You can join the forum as well. The link for the handles have been put up in the chat box. So moving on with the presentations, I now request Mrs. Neha Joshi Natu to present her slides.
Okay.
मल्टिपल शेअरिंग ऑप्शन केलं
ते काढून टाकेल.
I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah. So I'll tell more about my firm. So the name of the firm is Ecomet Ecological Services. We are based in Pune. So it was established in 2013. Actually, the main work, so you can call it as, it started all in 2016 basically, working towards more green gifting or workshops, so wherein we conduct various workshops for urban landscapes, for like dish gardens or terrariums which you can keep on your desk or maybe in your indoor spaces, offices, or maybe you can just gift it to someone. Along with it, we also have many indigenous plant species, saplings, butterfly and bird attracting plants, medicinal plants, which you can incorporate in your, be it a tiny balcony or maybe you have a good big farmhouse or something like that. So we provide solutions for that. Moving ahead with ecological landscaping, or you can see it as a urban landscaping, one challenge was converting dead spaces into workable, or the place where you can have a cup of tea by the end of your tiring day. So these were the few places which we converted into more workable spaces. As you can see here, there was small pipe which was lying ahead in the building, which was now converted into a simple landscape. This was a AC unit. So this is how we work in conservation field. So you probably must have seen many such bottles, caps, or maybe toothpaste के ढक्कन या फिर pizza separators. You can all convert this kind of a day-to-day waste into a simple dish garden kind of a thing. So here I have incorporated pizza separators. The old pickle jars also you can convert into a maybe a planter, or by which you can gift it to someone. So converting waste into something that is useful or which is into a gardening thing is what we are doing right now. So many people bring their old waste products to our office, and we convert it into some dish garden or something like that to keep on their desk or to keep on their offices. Something moving ahead with the product designing. So these are some best out of waste products which we have designed. So as you can see, bulb planters, Then we have also designed something which is called terracotta planters. You know, best option for your plastic pots. So this is what we are doing right now, designing many products which are related with environmental friendly options. We also write a variety of articles which are more about throwing some light on how to incorporate indigenous species, or how to you can plant many species which are getting extinct or which are rare nowadays in urban landscapes. So this is how we contribute, and we conduct various workshops in association with Maharashtra Times, Sakal, and many other NGOs. And this is how we are starting from a simple Ecomet Ecological Services, which was started in 2013. And now we can say it, we have taken almost 100 plus workshops in past 2.5 years. And there are more about 3,000 to 3,500 participants, right from IT background or maybe from different background. So we do get feedback from people that okay, मैंने मिट्टी में हाथ कुछ लगभग 20 या 25 साल पहले डाले थे, and this was the workshop which took me back to, you know, our childhood memories, and I'm feeling so happy that people are now taking gardening as a hobby, not just hobby, but taking it forward. So during lockdown period, we have taught many people about, you know, gardening, how to start growing your own food and something like that. And these are few of our clients. This is our GST office in Pune. Now, if you go to GST office, you can see our planters on their desk, on, you know, in the lobbies. Then PMI, the collectives, and taking it ahead, many people are opting such green gifts instead of those live plants bouquets, live flowers bouquets. So many people are taking this, and it feels so good to, you know, have it green gifting, sustainable gifting options for all of you. So if you want to visit our page, so it's there on Facebook and Instagram, wherein we incorporate many such gardening skills, and we create videos to guide you all. So if you have any questions, we will be happy to answer.
Next presentation, I now request Pallavi Nade to present your
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So basically, this is the day. This is the inaugural day of Wild Shoots, which we conducted in Nature Walk. बेसिकली ये एक फिल्म क्लब था जिसमें हमने बहुत सारे इंडिजिनस फिल्म्स, इंडिजिनस मतलब जो इंडिया में शूट हुए हैं और इंडिया की बायोडाइवर्सिटी जो दिखाते हैं. One more thing I will tell you, one unique treasure of Nature Walk, that Nature Walk itself has more than 1,000 films or 1,000 documentaries which is related to wildlife and environment, and particularly with the butterflies. So I documented all these films and I described all these films. I described the director, what is a time of that particular thing. तो मुझे लगता है कि ये जो एक ट्रेजर है नेचर वॉक के पास, 1,000 से ज्यादा फिल्म्स जो कि इंडिया में की गई है, तो ये बहुत यूनिक है. और मैं आपको सबसे यही कहूंगी, जब भी नेचर वॉक का कोई भी फिल्म स्क्रीनिंग होगा, ओपनली होगा, जब किसी भी फेस्ट में हो या किसी भी हो, देन you must attend that, because on Discovery Channel, on Nat Geo channel, you can't watch, or you मतलब आपको वो जो इंडिजिनस फिल्म्स है वो आपको नहीं दिखाई देंगे ऑन द टीवी चैनल्स. तो यहाँ पे हमारे पास ऐसे बहुत सारे फिल्म्स है. तो आई वांट टू जस्ट टेल यू अबाउट दिस यूनिक ट्रेजर. तो ये वाइल्ड शूट का इनॉग्रल इवेंट था जिसमें गिरीश कुलकर्णी, आपको सबको पता है, मराठी एक्टर डायरेक्टर है, वो आए थे और उनके उनके मतलब उनसे हमने ये इनॉग्रेट किया था और बहुत अच्छा लगा था। यहाँ पे आपको दिख रहे हैं लेफ्ट साइड पे नितिन काकोडकर सर है जो पीसीसीएफ थे, एक्स पीसीसीएफ, और यहाँ पे राजेंद्र कदम है, वो भी फॉरेस्ट के ऑफिसर थे। तो बेसिकली नेचर वॉक का फॉरेस्ट की गवर्नमेंट या फॉरेस्ट गवर्नमेंट जो है, फॉरेस्ट ऑफिसर जो है, उनके साथ भी बहुत अच्छा कनेक्शन था और वो भी हमें बहुत सारा सपोर्ट करते थे, बहुत सारी मदद करते थे, हमारे हर एक इवेंट में वो भी पार्टिसिपेट करते थे। सो दैट वाज द वेरी गुड थिंग। Okay, now this second photograph is I am conducting a slideshow in Ahmednagar district. अकोले नाम का एक गांव था, वहां पे हमें बुलाया गया था स्लाइड शो करने के लिए अबाउट ऑब्वियसली नेचर और एनवायरनमेंट, इंसेक्ट, प्लांट्स, क्योंकि उन लोगों को तो बहुत सारे पता है क्योंकि वो गांव में रहते हैं, लेकिन फिर भी मैंने कुछ एडिशन उनको फिल्म्स दिखाए और उनके साथ मैंने इंटरैक्टिव सेशन किया, तो वो बहुत अच्छा था। एंड इन एनीवेज आई कंडक्टेड लॉट्स ऑफ स्लाइड शोज, फिल्म शोज, festivals when I was working in nature walk. In that time I realized that without awareness there is no conservation. So basically आपको उस एनिमल का इम्पोर्टेंस अगर नहीं पता है तो आप उसे कंजर्व नहीं कर सकते। तो बेसिकली अवेयरनेस करना ये सबसे पहला स्टेप होता है और उसके बाद भी हम मतलब आगे अवेयरनेस करके बहुत सारे लोगों के पास लोगों को कनेक्ट हो सकते हैं। सो दिस वाज द फोटो। उसके बाद हमारे जो अलग अलग फेस्टिवल्स थे, बर्ड फेस्ट, वाइल्ड शूट्स, वाइल्ड इंडिया फेस्ट, उसमें बहुत बड़े बड़े लोग आए थे। यहाँ पे आपको दिख रहा होगा बिट्टू सहगल जी है जो वाइल्ड लाइफ कंजर्वेशनिस्ट है, उनका मैगजीन भी है। तो ये ऐसे बहुत बड़े बड़े लोगों का हमें सपोर्ट भी मिला और हमें गाइडेंस मिला और हम जो सारे ये वॉलंटियर्स है वो हमेशा मतलब इनके साथ हमें बहुत सारी इम्प्रूवमेंट भी की। सो द फोटो इज दैट। ये फोटो है, हम हर साल में ट्री प्लांटेशन का भी प्रोग्राम लेते थे। यहाँ पे आपको सुशील कुमार शिंदे जी दिख रहे होंगे और जो ब्लैक शर्ट में है वो नीलिम कुमार खैरे है जो कातरस ऑर्फनेज और कातरस के डायरेक्टर हैं। तो बेसिकली उनके साथ भी बहुत इंटरैक्टिव सेशन हुआ। वहां पे सारे लोगों ने ऑर्फनेज के जो एनिमल्स है वो कैसे रहते हैं, उनका देखभाल कैसे होता है, वो भी हमने दिखाया उनको। और ये जो मतलब जैसे अनुज दादा हमेशा कहता है कि ऑलमोस्ट मतलब ऑटो रिक्शा ड्राइवर से लेके पॉलिटिशियन तक सारे हमारे फ्राइडे कट्टा पे आके गए हैं, आते हैं। और यही सबसे अच्छी बात है नेचर वॉक की कि ये हर एक आदमी को कनेक्ट करता है। सो दिस वाज द ट्री प्लांटेशन। एंड ये भी जैसे मैंने कहा हर आदमी को कनेक्ट करता है, बच्चों को भी कनेक्ट करता है। ये हमारा एग्जीबिशन था यशवंतराव चव्हाण ऑडिटोरियम में। तो सिर्फ जैसे हमें पता है कि एग्जीबिशन में हम सिर्फ पिक्चर्स लगाते हैं, आप कोई भी एग्जीबिशन में जाओ आपको पिक्चर्स दिखाई देंगे, लेकिन हम हर एक अगर कोई बच्चों का ग्रुप है या अगर ग्रुप फॉर्म करके हम उनको उसके बारे में कहते थे कि फोटोग्राफ क्या है, उस मतलब किसने निकाला है, इसके क्या इंफॉर्मेशन है, कौन सा ये प्लांट है, कौन सा एनिमल है, कहाँ पे ये हमें मिलेगा, तो ये भी हम इंफॉर्मेशन देते थे। तो जनरली अवेयरनेस आप जितना ज्यादा करोगे उतना आपको जो है वो कंजर्वेशन के जो स्टेप्स है या कंजर्वेशन की जो आइडियाज है वो आपको अच्छी तरीके से और भी आ जाएंगी। सो दैट्स इट फॉर द थिंग। आई वांट टू जस्ट टेल 2 थिंग्स ओनली। तो जैसे मैंने कहा कि नेचर वॉक के ट्रेजर के बारे में हमारे पास बहुत सारी फिल्म्स हैं और दूसरी बात अवेयरनेस का भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। जैसे मैं अगर मेरी बात ले लेंगे तो आई कैन नॉट डू फील्ड वर्क, ठीक है, मैं एक्चुअली जंगल में जाके फील्ड वर्क नहीं कर सकती, लेकिन मुझे नेचर वॉक में जाके ये सीखने को मिला है कि आई कैन डू अवेयरनेस, आई कैन अवेयर द पीपल। अब जैसे मेरे माँ ने मुझे बताया, मैंने और मेरे फ्रेंड्स को बताया, मेरे कजिन्स, मेरे रिलेटिव्स को बताया, तो वो सारे अवेयर हो गए हैं। अभी वो भी सोचने लगे हैं कि आप के आजू बाजू में वो भी आपको मतलब देखते हैं कि व्हाट आर द बर्ड्स, व्हाट आर द एनिमल्स, व्हाट आर द इंसेक्ट। सो बेसिकली जो फील्ड वर्क नहीं कर सकते वो अवेयरनेस का काम जरूर कर सकते हैं। यस, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू सो मच पल्लवी। for the nice memories and for refreshing our memories
Yeah.
as well. That was a wonderful looking back. Last, we move on to the last line of the thing. Sania, please, the screen is yours. Kindly share your slides.
Yeah, sure. Is it visible?
Yes, it is
It
visible.
is, it is.
Yeah, okay. Welcome to Manipur. This is from a village, Ijrong. It's a remotest place. I just want to tell you the remoteness of the place where we have survived for at a stretch of 20 days where there was no electricity. There was one particular tree, we used to call it as network tree. So all of us used to go there if you want to call someone. So it was that remote. There was no grocery shop. There was no market in the place. So if we want to buy something, we would have we would need to travel for 1 hour to reach the district place. So before knowing about the village, before knowing about how it started, I just want to go back to my first job started as a science resource person where I was working in a village called Vai. So this was the session where we conducted science exhibition, and one room was specially created only for portraying and showcasing biodiversity of Maharashtra. And these students were presenting. As you can see, Mr. Satish Pandey was there, a ornithologist, to appreciate the kids. Because of Teach for India, as a part of the summer internship, I got a chance to visit Sekmol. This is the school in Sekmol. This is a school in Ladakh. I mentioned. I've already shared the link. So that's the zero waste school, and all the kids there are super creative. And please refer to the website, and I really urge you to go there for at least 1 month to be with the kids. Then, as my inclination was more about working in mountains for education, I applied for a job which was for an instructional leader in a village called Gulardogi, which is placed in Rishikesh. So my job was more about school development and teacher training. There, one project I purposely did was plastic bottle brick. You might have heard of how we can use trash and we can stuff bottles with plastic. Almost one gunny bag of plastic can be filled and stuffed in one bottle, and then you can create these bottles and transform those bottles into bricks. And then this is how we used bricks to convert it into a shoe stand. Then post that, I started working for Sunbird Trust. Do visit the website. It's an amazing organization. I cannot forget the 2 years I have spent in this remote place called Ijrong in Manipur. So this is the location where I was working. This is the school where I was working. The kids used to walk for almost 1.5 hours to reach the school. These were the first generation learners who haven't got exposed to any schooling experience. Their parents were farmers and hunters. So these were the first generation learners. I can proudly say that I got the opportunity to develop a science lab in the remote village. Even this lab looks fancy. The material that we ordered from Pune and all the activity kits that we ordered, it took almost 3 months to reach this place because of a lot of Bandh. So you might be aware of insurgency which is happening in Manipur, and because of the Bandh, we received the materials almost after 3 months. And in the science lab, I wanted to include a lot of things which are contextualized, which are related to their daily life. And we conducted a science exhibition at the inauguration of the science lab. And there were almost 50 experiments and projects that the students have done. And I wanted to particularly include 2-3 projects that I'm going to focus on. First was about hunting. So as you can see, all these species are from our village, which are being hunted. One is monitor lizard, and there is Amur falcon, and so all these species are being hunted. So when we used to stay with one family, local family, and when we used to visit their kitchen, every day there was either one deer which was being hunted, and they are enjoying the feast of these wild animals. So I wanted to start the awareness from the kids. The second example is the unique method of fishing. So how they work on fishing is they first create a small pond. They crush the leaves and bark of walnut and albizia tree, and they mix it with water. Because of the chemical content in the trees, you can see the foam which has been created, and the fish gets paralyzed and it floats on water, and they collect the fish. So this is a very unique method which they have been using traditionally for the last more than 50 years. So we went for fishing, we learned the fishing scientifically, and we presented that fishing as a project in our science exhibition. So this was more about how we presented different diversity of Manipur, how we presented projects on conservation. So do watch the wildlife documentary based on Race to Save Amur Falcon, which tells us more about the conservation of Amur Falcon. Now, when it comes to integration, we tried to integrate art and wildlife. So as you can see, there is Sangai deer, brow antlered deer, which is endemic to Manipur, which has been drawn on the walls of our school by one artist called Abha Bhagwat. She's based in Pune, so she conducted this. I invited her and she conducted this activity for the kids. As you can see, there is Amur Falcon and Nanjing pheasant, which is endemic to Manipur. Then you can see these local inventions. We tried to extract jam from mulberries, which are found locally, and you can see this creativity of students where they have transformed the bottles into chocolates. There was a challenge of water. So every day we used to fetch water from the nearby pond, and all these kids, as you can see, they are carrying waters on their shoulders and on their backs. So I started with one project of water harvesting, which is currently working. So these are my kids from the village of Manipur, and that's it for now. If you want to know more about Sunbird Trust, or if you get in touch with organizations of Teach for India and Sunbird Trust, do reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sania. I guess this was the last leg of our panel discussion. I now request Ms. Smruti Paranspe to extend the formal vote of thanks. And on my behalf and Nature Walk, I again thank you, all the panelists and as well as the participants who waited with us till the end. Now move on, now giving the mic to Smruti. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Harshada. I thank all of the panelists for joining in today's session and actually sharing their valuable experiences with all of us. And there is a lot of passion-driven work involved there. And I think ultimately this will lead to a better and pragmatic future of our environment. So, and also all the questions, I hope all the questions are answered. And if there are further questions, you can we have actually put up all the email addresses of our all panelists in the chat section. You can connect to them. And last but of course not the least, I would like to thank all the participants for joining and listening to all the panelists patiently. Before signing off, I would like to say that Nature Walk is on all social media handles, and all the links of all the handles are in the chat section. And recently we have launched our website, which is www.naturewalktrust.org, and it's a website which everyone must visit. And also there are updates on the websites every day, so please check it out. So thank you so much for joining, and have a happy Sunday all. Thank you.
Just before
मला हर्षदा, मला एक फक्त 2च वाक्य बोलायची आहेत.
Yeah, Pallavi, just a minute.
Yes,
Okay.
only 2 sentences. सगळ्यात पहिली गोष्ट म्हणजे नेचर वॉक मध्ये आल्यानंतर अनुज दादामुळे आणि सगळ्यांमुळे जंगल कसं वाचायचं ही पहिली गोष्ट आम्हाला कळाली. जंगल हे वर्तमानपत्रासारखं असतं आणि ते रोज वाचावं लागतं. सो हे अगदी डोक्यामध्ये आहे आणि आम्ही तेच फॉलो करतो किंवा मी फॉलो करते. दुसरी एक खूप महत्वाची गोष्ट अशी आहे की आपण माणूस म्हणून जन्माला येतो आणि माणूस म्हणून कसं वागायचं हे आपण समाजाकडून शिकतो, पण निसर्गाचा माणूस म्हणून कसं वागायला पाहिजे हे नेचर वॉक कडून मला तरी कळलंय, समजलंय. आणि मला असं वाटतंय त्याचा आत्ता फ्युचर साठी, माझ्या आणि येणाऱ्या फ्युचर साठी त्याचा मला खूप उपयोग होतोय. सो मेनी थँक्स टू नेचर वॉक की त्यांच्यामुळे आमची अक्षरशः संस्कार आम्हाला मिळालेत निसर्गाचे, आणि त्यांच्यामुळे नेचर वॉक मुळे आम्ही घडलोय. सो थँक्यू सो मच स्मृती, हर्षदा, अतुल्य, अनुज दादा, and all the team of Nature Walk. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Before we end this panel for today, there are two updates. In the chat box, we have put up the link to the newly formed NWCT, Nature Walk Charitable Trust Wildlife Forum. The forum has many experts from all the fields of wildlife working in different parts of India. So I request all the participants to join the forum. The link to the WhatsApp group is in your chat box. And also with one more very exciting session scheduled on 12th July, Nature Walk is back with a session with Director of Bombay Natural History Society, BNHS, Dr. Deepak Apte. So please stay tuned with the further upcoming events of Nature Walk and join us on 12th July for an interactive session with Dr. Deepak Apte, Director, BNHS. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.